All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jake Hochberg. I'm the Vice President of Analytics and Chief Analytics Officer here at Arcadia.
And I'm David Leingang, Director of Analytics for Ochsner Health Network.
So today we're going to talk about network utilization. And before we do, we want to just define what we're talking about. So first, we're talking about the general definition, and that's a patient obtaining healthcare services from in or outside of a network. And then for the Ochsner specific definition, we're talking about the claims expense outside of the Ochsner Health organization.
Yeah, so at Ochsner, we look at it a little differently. So we've got our, brick and mortar facilities and our, where our physicians practice. We've also got our integrated network. And so for our purposes, when we're looking at leakage, we want to look at it outside of our entire network. Doesn't really matter if it's directly an Ochsner system facility or if it's a partner. So we're looking at the whole, integrated network. So kind of a little history about what we've done with Ochsner and leakage. Ancient times really just started with Excel reports, straight reports on what's going inside or outside the network. A couple years ago, we moved over to just a Tableau-based version of that, made it a little bit more interactive, some filtering capabilities, but it was still basically just a report in a dashboard format. Where we've moved to recently is a more interactive version of our Tableau dashboard. So we're able to make a lot of connections between inpatient, outpatient, different groupings of types of procedures, and really allow our users that interactivity that they really desire to be able to look at the network and understand, where our leakage is occurring. So kind of what do you do with this information? So you get your dashboard, got all kinds of data on what's happening. We really look at it three ways. So patient-centric, so we're able to understand what patients are leaving our network, really target that outreach, understand why they're leaving, try to bring them back if that is appropriate to bring them back, but also, just figure out what is happening to improve our own system. Then we go PCP-centric. So, of course, Ochsner believes that we are a best practice organization. So we're able to train our doctors and on the methods that we think that they should be using. So we really want them to keep their patients within our network. So we're able to do, training and outreach to our docs to understand, why are some of their patients leaving. And then the third one is really something that we're really trying to implement more of. And it's understanding, are we leaking out claims patients because we just don't offer those services in an area? And so maybe there's an opportunity for a new clinic or a new specialty in a certain area where we're losing a lot of our patients that go into other services. So we're using that data to start looking at some market information as well. So kind of where we are right now, our users, our operators are accessing the dashboard. They're doing their manipulation of the data, they're filtering to understand what they're looking for. Where we're trying to go in the future is more recommended information. So more insight-driven dashboards, pushing out information on leakage that they would have gotten to through a set of filters or manipulating the information. But let's use analytics and data science to produce those insights for them and drive that information outward.
So then in terms of how the Arcadia product can help in our current approach, so first we have a database that analysts have access to for really deep and rich analysis. We have a medical economics engine. It groups together claims so you can get a really good view of service lines. You can see what's in and out of network, and you can see the preceding events. So one use case that a lot of our customers use and we've helped customers with is building out the preferred service lines and preferred provider networks. So you can give to a physician, these are the service lines to focus on, and these are the providers that will help bring care in network. An example I'll give, if you can steer a first visit with a dermatologist, that's going to have a much smaller downstream impact on facility costs than if you can steer an appointment with a surgeon. On top of that, we do have a series of exploratory dashboards, so non-analyst users can start to explore these same trends, understand what services, what specialists are really driving care in and out of network. And then lastly, there's push reporting. So the ability to send to providers, these are the specialists your patients are seeing that are taking care out of network. These are potential alternatives that have higher quality and are going to keep care within your networks. So at the end of the day, it's analysts figuring out, what should we steer and where, and then giving providers more simplistic views of this is exactly where your patients are going and redirection opportunities.